affect his game, it was quite a nice place to rest the cue on.
A puppet, yeah, not a real...
No, I meant a puppet. Did I not say puppet?
I think
the glove
you did,
puppet.
yeah.
Or could you have a glove that has a built-in stand on it so that
that would be against the rules.
Oh, would it? Okay.
I'll get the extra equipment.
There we go. 6:29 is time. Thanks very much, Mike.
We will be back with the headlines at 7 o'clock, but for the next half hour, our education editor, Bronwyn Jeffries, is looking into how the death of head teacher Ruth Perry has put Ofsted in the spotlight.
A small primary school at the heart of its community. The shocking death of the much-loved head teacher, unleashing a national debate.
I don't have any reason to doubt the inspection.
I cannot tell you the number of head teachers that have had nervous breakdowns.
I think Ofsted has been a force for good in the education system in England. I think the time has now come for a change.
Hand in your badges. Ofsted must be reformed.
Ruth Perry was 53 when she took her life on the 8th of January 2023. A primary head teacher waiting for an inspection report that would label her school failing. Ruth was also a wife and mother to 2 teenage girls, a lifelong friend to her older sister Julia Waters. Throughout 2023, we followed Julia as she's campaigned for change, and we followed the wider debate provoked by her sister's death. Has the cost of school inspection become too high?
Good morning, it's 8 o'clock on Tuesday the 21st of March.
The family of the head teacher Ruth Perry, who took her own life after an Ofsted inspection at her school, have called the system punitive.
Ruth Perry died in January after working at Caversham Primary School for 13 years. It was downgraded from outstanding to inadequate.
There's always been debate about how Ofsted does its job and the pressures that creates within schools.
When news broke of the suicide of a primary head teacher, it opened up a national debate. So who was Ruth Perry? Caversham was where Ruth Perry had grown up. Going to the primary school with her older sister Julia, she'd returned to work there, becoming head teacher. To her family and friends, Ruth had been happily woven into the community for the rest of her life.
Being Ruth, she was fun. She was carefree. We could talk easily for hours, and she was just passionate about everything she did.
But she was also down to earth. She wasn't brash. There was nothing, you know. She was just very natural, very honest.
She had a wicked sense of humour, a really nice laugh, nice ready laugh and smile. But she was, she was sort of quietly confident as a person.
Hello everyone, Mrs. Perry here. Welcome to my final assembly of this term, which has been a really strange term, with most of you working from home.
Through the lockdowns, when children were at home, Ruth Perry's online school assemblies were full of hope and kindness.
And I hope that most of you, if not all of you, actually miss school and seeing the teachers and me. We certainly miss you.
This has had a huge impact on your family.
Yes, yeah. The future's very different.
I still think I see her.
I want her to be remembered by her daughters as the lovely mum she was. And She was just a lovely human being and destroyed by an utterly inhumane system.
Caversham Primary School was judged outstanding in 2009, so for many years it wasn't inspected. What we know now is that Ruth Perry volunteered in 2019 to help Ofsted test new inspection standards. After their visit, she wrote to parents in a newsletter telling them the feedback was glowing.
At no point did she rest on that. You still think, I still need to do, you always know, you have a long to-do list all the time that you just want to improve your school. She knew that, but she did get confidence from that pilot, definitely.
3 years later, in mid-November 2022, the phone call came from Ofsted to say a full inspection would be carried out.
The first day of inspection, I had emailed her to check how she was. I think I'd WhatsApped her as well. How's it going? That's what we had to do. As soon as you hear Ofsted or in someone's school, you check on them because you know that whatever the standards in the school are like, you worry about the process. It's a stressful process.
I sent her an email of good luck and saying, you'll be absolutely fantastic at this. You know your school and you're such a fantastic leader. And then I was talking to her, I was emailing her on that first day, and I got silence.
Friends and family say by the end of the 2 days of inspection, Ruth was visibly devastated. Her sister Julia saw her that evening.
She just looked different. She was really pale, her shoulders were slumped. She couldn't smile. She tried to at first, but she just couldn't smile. She walked into the kitchen and she just went, I'm broken, and started to cry. So I gave her a hug, and she was she just felt so vulnerable. She was, just leant into me and cried. And it was like there was nothing I could do to comfort her. I've never seen her like that.
The inspectors had raised concerns about how the school managed keeping children safe, how records were kept and staff checked. We now know no child had come to any harm at the school. Ruth Perry knew if Ofsted found flaws in safeguarding, it meant the school automatically got the bottom grade. On the 8th of December, Ruth Perry and a handful of others at the school saw the draft inspection report with the inadequate grade. It came with a strict warning across the top. The draft results could not be shared until Ofsted published the final report.
She wasn't allowed to open up to those closest to her and share the pain that she was in, and she was clearly in a lot of pain. And I remember when I opened the door, she looked broken.
These are notes that Ruth had written after the Ofsted inspection and that I found in her bags in her house. And she said, I've walked with teacher friends who understand, though I can't share the inadequate judgment even with them. I wake from restless sleep, absolutely panic-stricken. 40 days are taking their toll on my skin and my nails. My stomach is wasting away.
Several of the notes went over and over how to explain to parents that this outstanding school was now judged inadequate by Ofsted.
I have Googled, what do heads do after a failed inspection? I have seen examples of suicides, forced removal, resignation in shame.
An inadequate judgment would mean the school becoming an academy. Ruth Perry thought she would lose her job and her standing in the community.
She didn't feel that she could walk around the community anymore. She didn't feel that she could show her face because she'd let everyone down. And how could she possibly walk around Caversham after that?
This was going to be the end of her career. And she didn't know what else she could do. This is what she loved. I don't think she could hold her head up high. I think she was so distraught by it.
By the weekend after the inspection, Ruth's husband John said she was tearful, terrified the community in Caversham would be angry with her. She thought the family would have to move away. In his statement read at the inquest, John said that she started to think about suicide. Ruth Perry had no previous history of mental ill health. Over the following weeks, she saw her GP and a mental health crisis team. John said as time went on, her despair became worse.
She's written on Christmas morning. It says, it's Christmas morning and I've been awake since 2:15 a.m. Luckily, the girls didn't get up early, so I could rest, even though my mind would not allow me to sleep. INADEQUATE. Inadequate keeps flashing behind my eyes. I mean, the last time I saw Ruth alive was on Christmas Day. Oh, poor Ruth. She was trying, you know, she was really trying. She didn't want to spoil our Christmas. She didn't want to spoil the children's Christmas. But she was just haunted by it. You could see it all the time.
Caversham Primary School reopened on the 4th of January. Ruth Perry knew the report could be published at any time. Early on the morning of Sunday the 8th, she took her own life. Ofsted published the report with the inadequate grade in March. Ruth Perry had no previous history of mental ill health. Over the following weeks, she saw her GP and a mental health crisis team. John said as time went on, her despair became worse.
She's written on Christmas morning. It says, it's Christmas morning and I've been awake since 2:15 a.m. Luckily, the girls didn't get up early, so I could rest, even though my mind would not allow me to sleep. Luckily, the girls didn't get up early, so I could rest, even though my mind would not allow me to sleep. INADEQUATE. Inadequate keeps flashing behind my eyes. I mean, the last time I saw Ruth alive was on Christmas Day. Oh, poor Ruth. She was trying, you know, she was really trying. She didn't want to spoil our Christmas. She didn't want to spoil the children's Christmas. But she was just haunted by it. You could see it all the time.
Caversham Primary School reopened on the 4th of January. Ruth Perry knew the report could be published at any time. Early on the morning of Sunday the 8th, she took her own life. Ofsted published the report with the inadequate grade in March. Soon after, Julia raised concerns. Other head teachers had begun getting in touch with her. She started calling for school inspections to change.
I find it callous, heartless, insensitive.
Family first raised concerns.
We have the most profound sympathy for her family and for all the Caversham school community.
But do you think that the inspection came to the right conclusion?
I do. I think the findings were secure, and I think the inspection team worked with the professionalism and sensitivity that I would expect from our inspectors.
By any leader. Yet, in interview last week, Amanda Spielman stated that the inadequate Ofsted judgment of Caversham Primary School was sound. Stand up for Ruth. Stand up for yourselves and each other. Ofsted must be reformed. Thank you.
It could change.
Oh, it's over. No, it's over there, isn't it? Yeah.
The government oversees the one-word judgment of schools and intervenes to change who runs a school judged inadequate.
How was the meeting, Minister?
It's very constructive.
Well, we've been in there 3 hours. Yeah, I think it went well.
Gillian Keegan genuinely was listening. I did say in no uncertain terms that if we're not satisfied, if the action isn't forthcoming and fast enough, that I will keep going and try.
Head teachers. They got in touch with her and with the BBC. This head teacher wrote to us describing the experience as brutal. She told us she was broken. It was 2 days that changed her entire career. She was signed off work, experiencing regular panic attacks. But what really struck me was the last line of her letter to us. I wanted to run away from my life because I couldn't handle the shame of this report. Others had even darker thoughts.
And thought about that and have not shared that with anybody.
I've never ever been judged as anything but good or better in every single role of my life. So it felt like it was a personal affront to me. It was just this deep, deep despair.
In order to have a financial payoff so he could support his family, these confidentiality deals make it very hard to know the true number of head teachers who've left in this way.
It's a dirty little secret. I think it's pretty sordid, to be fair. I had no choice.
Suicide is complicated. We might never fully understand the many reasons why one person makes that decision. But when you think about suicide prevention, researchers look for the factors and the circumstances that might make people vulnerable. The findings were delivered. Today, the coroner was really clear in her verdict. She said the Ofsted inspection carried out in November 2022 had contributed to Ruth Perry taking her own life. The fact she couldn't share the grade with anyone else, the long wait for the report to be published, had also made things worse. The coroner went on to say that the inspection lacked fairness, respect and sensitivity, and at times was rude and intimidating. Afterwards, Julia, surrounded by family and friends, gave their response to the verdict.
Ruth was a head teacher and also a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a dear friend to so many people. Her death has left an unfillable hole in all our lives. Ofsted likes to judge people with single-word labels. We could judge the current Ofsted system with our own labels: callous, perverse, inhumane. We have no confidence that Ofsted, under its current leadership and management, is either willing or able to make the widespread root and branch reforms to its systems and culture that are so urgently needed.
In a statement, Ofsted's Chief Inspector, Amanda Spielman, responded to the verdict, saying, Ruth Perry's death was a tragedy that deeply affected many people. My thoughts remain with her family, the wider Caversham school community, and everyone else who knew and loved her. On behalf of Ofsted, I would like to say sorry to them for the distress that Mrs. Perry undoubtedly experienced as a result of our inspection. After Mrs. Perry's death, we made changes to the way we work to help reduce the pressure felt by school leaders. We will do more. The coroner highlighted a number of areas of concern. We will work hard to address each of these as soon as we can, and we are starting that work straight away.
I want her to be remembered for the head teacher she'd been of that school for 12 years before her death, for all those happy, safe childhoods that she sort of nurtured and supported through school.
Hello everyone. If you plant hard work, you will reap success. If you plant honesty, you will reap trust. If you plant perseverance, so not giving up, you will reap contentment.
Something that Ruth often said: it's more important to be kind than to be right. be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, and that's how we'll get through it.
By this story, help and support is available. Visit bbc.co.uk/actionline for more information.
Good morning, State.
Our headlines today.